Hi Suzanne, welcome to the Community Living Golf Tournament. Just want to give you an opportunity here to view your swing at regular speed. We'll let that play on through a few more times for you. Then we'll put you back in your address position and we'll go ahead and take a look at a few things. Okay, so while we've got you here in your setup, let's first of all just take a look at your posture. We can see here that your spine is straight and on a tilt. Legs come down into a nicely unlocked position. Your arms hang down nice and naturally in front of you, and the golf club works out to the ball. So you're achieving some pretty decent posture here in association with good balance as well. At this point in time, we want to observe your alignment, and we can see your feet aimed out to the right here, so you're in a little bit of a closed stance. Theoretically, your club face is supposed to run parallel to your feet at address, and parallel lines on camera would have an appearance of converging, but nonetheless, we're definitely set up at the right edge of the fairway where it meets the right rough, yet the center of the fairway is back in this direction here, so we may see some form of a compensation to try and get the ball back towards that yellow flag. Let's go ahead and do a little split screen comparison here between you and Chella Choi. We've got some color-coded lines on the screen here just as a visual reference point as it pertains to swing plane, and we'll go ahead and watch Chella initiate her takeaway. Which he does so by rotating the shoulders, drawing the arms and hands back as well as the golf club, referred to as sort of a one-piece kind of takeaway. As the golf club comes back, we want the club traveling back directly along the red line, and that simply means the club is coming back on a proper swing plane. At this point in time here, we need to incorporate some wrist hinge, whereby we can transition the club head from being below our hands to now being above our hands, and working the club now from red up to yellow. When we finally set the golf club at the top of the backswing, left arm situated on the yellow line, we have full shoulder rotation, and we do this about a very stable right leg with all the weight on the instep of the right foot. We can see with you as you initiate your takeaway here, you draw your hands back very nicely with shoulder rotation, and the club's coming back on a decent swing plane there for the first few feet, and then you start to take the golf club a little bit outside. You might be doing this because you may be trying to, for some reason, pull the club head straight back, and actually if you do pull the club straight back, the club theoretically is off of plane to the outside. So right now that club head should be ever so slightly back over here in this direction on the red line, and at that point in time we'd also be able to see the ball. That simply means the club is coming back on a nice natural subtle arc as well. As we continue to move your golf club back here, we can see that you continue to sort of pick the golf club up, starting to get a little bit of wrist hinge in there, and now your subconscious brain is telling you, hey, I need to shallow this out, I've got to get the club head in behind my hands if I'm going to have any power. So you really start laying that club off a lot right there, and that's actually a good move considering where you are coming from. So as you continue to take that golf club back, it looks like your shoulders sort of stop rotating a little bit as well, and when you finally set that golf club at the top of the backswing, you're really actually in a really nice position. You look like you've turned your shoulders decent, you stable right side, and you've maintained your spinal tilt. Your arm geometry is in a nice triangular formation relative to your core, and the club's in excellent position relative to your arms. So when you finally get to the top of your backswing, you're in a really, really solid position. So don't be afraid to just naturally let that club head and the hands maybe work a little bit more inside and around you to initiate the takeaway. As we create our transition back in the ball, simply want to move our weight from our right foot to our left foot, fire our knees and our hips to the target, unwind our core and fire our hands, and in doing so we want to bring the golf club from yellow back down on top of red. And that's exactly what we see here with Chella Choi. The golf club has returned back to the original red line and back to on plane. As we continue to track into the golf shot here for you, we watch your descending motion, pretty decent dropping of your hands. Looks like you sort of throw the club head out in front of you though, and the club has gotten into a little bit of a steeper position. You are subconsciously fighting to keep that club head above and behind, so there's your lead form, there's your golf club. So you do have your backwards check mark, but the club shaft right now is just too steep compared to the original red line. We can see with Chella Choi, it's actually slightly more shallow than the original red line, and yet again the club head has returned back to plane, which yours is not. So if we continue to track your club head coming in, or actually we're on cello right now, so what we'll note is that the club head should just simply come into the golf ball directly from that red line and on plane. In her case, she actually drops the club a little bit underneath of the swing plane, and therefore attacks the ball ever so slightly more from the inside than perhaps we should, because an on-plane swing is already on the inside. If we go ahead and track your club head coming in, we can see the club head falling here, next frame, and if we connect the dots, if we had a little bit of a higher speed camera like they do on TV, we'd get a good sense as to how that club is coming in. So the club is definitely coming into the ball a little steep and not fully returning back to swing plane. Okay? Now, as we come into that golf shot here, we can see with Chella Choi, the swing path is pretty much just going to be coming from the inside, expanding out to the golf ball, and then the club moves through, and it moves through on a nice natural subtle arc. So she's got a really nice natural subtle arc happening through the hitting zone in conjunction with good alignment. Her grip is good, so the club face is going to square up, and she's going to hit the ball relatively straight because of those three factors. We need good alignment, good downswing plane, and a good grip, and that's what's going to give us consistency in our golf shots. As you come into the ball here, club drops down and across, so that's actually really, really nice. Club moves through, so you're moving throughout a really nice swing arc. Unfortunately, we had stipulated that your alignment was too far out to the right again, so we can see that we're swinging the golf club on a nice arc relative to our aim. The only problem is that we would like to be aimed over in this direction. So looks like the ball's heading out in the exact direction that you are aimed, and yeah, we do see that there. So very likely the ball's going to stay out in that direction unless you really release the club and you imparted some right to left spin, then that ball might be able to draw back somewhat towards the yellow flag, but it doesn't look like you're going to lose it too far right and right of where your alignment is. When you finish your golf swing, finish looks good. You're coming up off your right heel, somewhat onto your toe. We can see here with Chella Choi, she completely gets up off that right heel, right up on the toe of the foot. That allows us to complete our golf swing, allows us to square our hips around, fully rotate our shoulders, and stand with our weight on our left side. So we can see here, she's up on the toe of the right foot. We can count all the spikes in the shoe. Weight's on the left side. She's posted up on her left leg. Her hips are square to the target. She's maintained her spinal tilt. She's fully rotated her shoulders. Hands are high, clubs back in behind her. We can see with you that you've sort of pulled up out of your posture. So if we go back to address, let's look at where your posture was. Well, your posture was on this angle here. So you've really stood up out of your shot. You haven't maintained any form of that angle coming through. And the reason for that is you're pulling up towards that yellow line because you're trying to pull the ball back towards that yellow flag and not lose the ball too far to the right. And you can see that causes your center of gravity to go this way and you start to lose your balance in that direction. Okay? Quick little review. Again, setup looks really, really good. You've got some really nice athletic ability. Your hands work well back and through. Your core's working pretty decent. You coil back, uncoil through. You got some pretty decent footwork allowing you to drive through to the finish. And unfortunately, we do need to improve that alignment so we're not aiming so far right and then having to try and pull the ball left. And we can see that look, especially at the end there, as you pull up and sort of start to fall over. That's a sign that we're trying to get that ball to go left. So if you just improved your alignment with the downswing plane that you have and the grip you have, you would find the center of the fairway or your intended target a lot more often. Okay? Anyways, if at any point in time you ever want to work on any of these things, I'm over at Glen Abbey in Oakville, and also if you happen to be involved with any golf tournaments or sit in any committees and you're looking for a unique gift to give to the participants, feel free to contact me. All my contact information is at the end of this video. Okay? Anyways, I hope you had a great day. Hope you enjoyed getting an opportunity to see your swing on video. Hope you have a great summer, and maybe we'll hear from you.